Hey everyone, it's Jenny. Welcome back to my K-drama podcast where I share my personal thoughts and analysis as a passionate Weak Hero fan. If you haven't watched Weak Hero seasons 1 and 2 yet, be careful. This entire episode is full of spoilers. Also, since today's episode is mainly audio-focused with minimal visuals, I'd recommend listening with your earphones for the best experience. All my content is just personal fan analysis, so if you think this kind of deep character analysis is too much, feel free to skip this episode. Today I'm doing something a bit different. I want to share and respond to some incredible subscriber comments from my video, discussing Weak Hero's script book and Beom-seok's character depth. If you love this trio as much as I do, I think you'll really enjoy this audio discussion. Let's get started! I received this absolutely beautiful comment from a subscriber that honestly moved me to tears while reading it on the subway. Let me share it with you. People who are as deprived of affection as Si-eun and Beom-seok are will definitely have a flood of many emotions when someone they admire says or does something appreciative or kind or shows an honest interest in them. Whether they realize it or not, they are totally needy. So, an offer of genuine friendship would bring forth tidal waves of disbelief, surprise, extreme gratitude, happiness, self-esteem, confidence, joy, and totally it's love. It's that truly heady experience of first love, but it's also a huge leap of faith for them to put their trust in it. It's an enormous risk to accept and reciprocate it. I mean, how can they fully trust a friendship when they've never really been awarded one before? They'll be hypervigilant looking for evidence that it might not be real or that it's going to be taken away. They'll also be wondering how to pay for it, if all of their relationships have been transactional up to that point. And the devastation that signs of rejection would bring? What's the cost of rejection or loss when you've never had anything before and feel like you won't have anything again? I'm afraid it's too difficult to figure out what kind of love this is. It's too often difficult to figure out what any kind of love is. But I know that Beom-seok was trying to figure out how to pay for it. He's not strong. He's not audaciously smart or brave like Si-eun is. But he does have money and position. So, he's deflated when his new friends don't think he's a hero for getting the money to pay Gil-soo, especially when the price of getting caught would be so extreme. And then some street kid jumps in between them? How is she paying for Soo-ho's good graces? His real money isn't good enough. And so he starts to really resent having to spend it on them. They're taking it and him for granted, right? He doesn't even have any clue how sexist and classist and insulting his thoughts are. And he doesn't care because he's too desperate for Soo-ho and Si-eun's attention not to vanish. So when he thinks it's going, almost gone, he becomes a tornado of resentment and anger. He feels that he's been betrayed. A lot of people seem to think that Beom-seok is just a grasping social climber who wants to buy his way into more followers on Insta. But he's really much more desperate and genuine and honest than that. He has no other currency and he knows it. Soo-ho isn't maybe rejecting him outright, but Si-eun is definitely his favorite, and Beom-seok can't compete. Si-eun has the kind of, not dollar, currency that Soo-ho responds to, right? Bravery. But then Yeong-i as well? Poor Beom-seok really has to buy some new friends because he's not safe on his own. He needs protection from bullying and his heart is shattered. So, he joins and becomes one of the bullies because they have the power, more power, and they'll surprisingly accept his currency. He even chooses them over his first friends when Si-eun is getting beaten into hospitalization. Why? Because at that point, he's flat out told that he must choose one or the other. Actually, we're shocked by the extreme quality of Beom-seok's betrayal, but we're totally understanding of Si-eun as he comes apart at the seams. When he's faced with the same kinds of losses that Beom-seok was feeling, his violent reaction is more understandable, right? Because Beom-seok's reaction was mostly preemptive and Si-eun's was reactive. And Si-eun doesn't actually betray Beom-seok. He can't even choose to punch him in the face because he's a better, stronger person in that way. Mainly, I think, both boys have just lost something that they couldn't afford to lose. After having it for the first, and possibly the only time. It's just too great a loss, and so they both kind of go ballistic. Wow. Just, wow. You know, I jokingly told other subscribers that this drama completely hijacked my May, that I can't even focus at work or drink coffee without thinking about this. Trio. I said, I'm burning so bright I'll turn to ash and fly away. But honestly, reading this comment on the subway actually made me tear up a little. This channel has become something way bigger than just my analysis videos. It feels like we're building something together. Viewers like you from around the world who don't want to just consume this drama and move on. We want to keep it alive, to rediscover those things we'd forgotten, genuine human connection, real loyalty, that pure passion of youth when we'd sacrifice everything for someone we loved without keeping score. This comment reads like poetry. Honestly, the subscriber expressed their thoughts almost like a poem. Even though English isn't my native language, reading these words somehow felt like reading something written in my own tongue. That's the incredible magic this drama creates. These deep connections across cultures and languages. The subscriber absolutely nailed it about Si-eun seeing through Beom-seok's loneliness. That class 2 ring scene where they mirror each other, both crying. I mean, yes, it's Si-eun's guilt made manifest, but I personally think the directors kept hinting that these two boys understand each other in ways no one else can. I actually joked with another subscriber that Si-eun looks like this. Pretty independent cat, but is really just a lonely cat desperate for affection. And this poor boy? Total puppy energy in my view. Pet him once and he'll cry happy tears, then chase after you begging you not to leave. When this subscriber wrote, Si-eun and Beom-seok will definitely have a flood of emotions. I mean, I couldn't agree more if I tried. I personally loved how the director called Si-eun's experience first love. Sure, fans enjoy the idea that Suho was officially Si-eun's first love, but this subscriber captured something so much deeper. For boys who'd lived in isolation their whole lives, Suho's genuine friendship brought this tsunami of disbelief, surprise, gratitude, happiness, confidence, joy. Honestly, I think the only word big enough for all that emotion is love. Instead of trying to categorize these boys' feelings into neat boxes like romance or bromance, I think we should just sit with that incredible rush of raw emotion we've all forgotten. You know, when we try to label their relationship, we might miss the point entirely. What Si-eun and Suho shared was something deeper than categories. It was that pure, overwhelming connection that happens when someone truly sees you for the first time. They experienced that euphoric first love at 16. 17, and this drama captured both its beauty and its tragic end so perfectly. The line about Si-eun has the currency Suho responds to, bravery. I absolutely love this. Suho was totally drawn to Si-eun's courage, right? And you're right about the stakes for Beom-seok. If his adoptive father had caught him with that stolen watch, he would have paid an enormous price that day, maybe even ended up hospitalized. Nothing in this drama is accidental, you know? When the boy puts that money in his bag and leads his two beloved friends to the science room, there's this flash of confidence, even pride on his face. I think this was meant to be his heroic moment. People assume Beom-seok snapped over Instagram followers, but honestly, anyone who really followed his psychology knows it's so much deeper than that. That scene of him trailing behind Suho and Yeong-i, carrying all that suspicion and rage, and then having to pay for their coffee when normally it would have been nothing? The observation that his real money isn't good enough? Personally, that hit me right in the chest. For Beom-seok, I think money wasn't just money. It was his only currency. Si-eun had courage, that total lunatic quality Suho loved. All this boy had was money, his desperate attempt to keep the two friends who'd given him the most amazing experience of his life. When he felt them taking it for granted, that's when the anger exploded. Hong-kyung's acting in those moments, I think it was absolutely devastating. About Yeong-i, many subscribers want me to analyze her role. Personally, I don't think she was just thrown in to make the boy jealous or to tone down the bromance vibes. Like the subscriber said, she forced Beom-seok to confront this impossible question. She can't fight like Si-eun, so how is this homeless girl earning Suho's attention? When they kidnapped her and he interrogated her, I think his assumptions were laid completely bare. He'd convinced himself she and Suho were sleeping together, because what else could a powerless runaway offer in his mind? Even if the script says, this boy, consumed by a whirlwind of emotions, didn't actually slap Yeong-i when she jumped in his father's car, I suppose in his mind he'd already struck her down. This kid had no clue how sexist and classist his thinking was, but that's what made it so tragically innocent too, you know? That karaoke scene when Suho grabs his collar and this boy who had admired his friend more than anyone spits out, "Are you showing off? Should I pay you wages?" Personally, that moment destroys me every time. Suho's wounded expression is unforgettable. I think this boy knew exactly how much those words would hurt. His hatred had grown so much that he needed to wound Suho, with words before any physical violence. But here's the thing. I don't think Suho and Si-eun had any idea what they'd done to Beom-seok when they told him to return that money. They couldn't possibly understand his devastation. How could they? If they weren't true friends, there's no way they could have accepted that much money anyway. I suppose that moment proved Beom-seok was already too complex, too damaged for 16-year-olds to handle. That's why I personally want to celebrate Si-eun's choice in that Season 2 ring scene, letting go of this boy in the black t-shirt's hand and choosing to wake up. It was agonizing, but by releasing this boy, Si-eun chose growth over guilt, healing over holding on. And you know what? I don't think Suho was Si-eun's only first love. In my view, Beom-seok was Si-eun's first love too. Comments like this remind me why I love making these podcasts. It's not just about analyzing a drama. It's about connecting with people who understand the depth and beauty of these characters and relationships. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.